Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Journeys episode 29, Electrifying Jealousy, Yamper's Feelings. This was the 1114th episode of the Pokémon anime. We took a break from Ash and Go adventuring this week to focus on Chloe and her relationship with Yamper. This episode was definitely a change of pace from what we're used to in the series, but without further ado, let's get straight into the action. I say that, but there wasn't a whole lot of action in this episode. It was more slice of life, focusing on Chloe and her family. The episode opens with a Pidove flying away from something, while Chloe hears a noise coming from her window, almost like something crashed into it. Downstairs, her brother is playing a Nintendo Switch, and Chloe is angry about one of her mom's drawings. Outside, Yamper is making quite a lot of noise, and everyone is shocked to see a Pidove that looks in really bad shape. It's still kind of strange to me that even though we're in Vermilion City in Kanto, a place that used to only have Generation 1 Pokemon, we're seeing things like a Yamper and Pidove living there. I guess we can put that down to migration and globalization. Anyways, the Cerise family decides to take care of Pidove, which seems to disappoint Yamper. Over at the Cerise Park, Ash is training with Riolu and Pikachu, and Riolu is actually holding its own against Pikachu. Go runs over and says that he can't find Sobble, which apparently is a pretty common thing with a Pokemon that can turn invisible. They run into a group of crying Pokemon, and eventually Go tells his bug types to use Stun Spore, which makes Sobble visible. In order to calm it down, Ash tells Dragonite to do its thing, which obviously means giving Sobble a big hug. This stops Sobble's crying, and that's pretty much all we get from Ash and Go in this episode. Pidove is starting to recover, but Yamper is obviously irritated by it, and eventually Pidove settles down on Yamper's back. It stays there for pretty much the rest of the day, and Yamper accepts that it just can't get rid of Pidove, even though it clearly wants to. The next day, Yamper tries to stop Chloe from interacting with Pidove even more, and Professor Cerise says that it's probably jealous of Pidove and the attention that it's getting, similar to a child when it gets a younger sibling. Speaking of acting like a child, we eventually get some backstory about Chloe and when she first met Yamper, and how she was jealous of it at first. Professor Cerise says that a friend of his from Galar sent him Yamper while Chloe was still an only child, and Chloe really resented it at first. Back in the present day, she says that she used to be so childish, and right at that moment Sobble appears next to Go. That was definitely intentional. Anyways, we hear the story about one time Chloe yelled at Yamper to just go away, and later that night her parents told her that it actually did run away. Chloe went out to look for it. I'm not sure why she was allowed to search a park by herself at night, and Svenonette started marching towards her, which scared her. This is when Yamper stepped in to scare them off, and I guess this made their relationship better. I don't know, to me, this seemed kind of like a setup from Chloe's parents that they made into a life lesson for Chloe and Yamper, but they never actually said that was the case. That's just my guess. Suddenly, a Fearow shows up at the laboratory, and Pidove recognizes it as the thing that was chasing it right before it crashed into Chloe's window at the start of the episode. Yamper gives Pidove over to Chloe before facing off with Fearow. This seemed like a pretty tame confrontation, since I'm guessing Ash or Go could have handled this in their sleep, but everyone decides to leave it to Chloe and Yamper, and encourages them to work together. They try to make it as dramatic as possible, but in the end, Yamper just uses Spark and knocks out Fearow in one hit. I'm not saying that it wasn't cool that Chloe was pushing herself and working together with Yamper to protect Pidove, but it's just kind of funny to me that the climax of the episode is a single Spark attack. The episode ends with Pidove's trainer collecting it from the Cerise family, and then Chloe and her mother have an important conversation. It was a pretty quick conversation, but they talked about this book that Professor Cerise wrote, which is about Pokemon and people living together in peace. Chloe seems super into that, even saying that her dad is pretty cool, as the narrator points out that she's slowly getting closer to Pokemon. I'm giving this episode a 6 out of 10 rating. This was definitely more of a slice of life or character-based episode, so it did feel a little out of place in this series for me, since we've had a lot of action involving Ash in the World Coronation series. They've made it pretty clear that Ash and Go are the two protagonists, while Chloe is just a supporting character. With that being said, this is the second time that we've had a full episode dedicated to her and Yamper, and both times they've grown closer together by the end of it, with the overall theme being Chloe growing more interested in Pokemon over time. They're clearly building towards something by developing Chloe and her relationship with Pokemon, so I'm curious to see how this progresses. However, if they're only going to build on that story twice in the first 30 episodes of the series, clearly it's going to be a slow burn towards whatever the end goal is. How do you guys think they should be incorporating Chloe into the story? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. The next episode is going to focus on Pikachu seemingly running away from Ash, with Mimey chasing after him. From what I could tell from the preview, it looked like the episode may start at the Cerise Laboratory, but likely the majority of the episode will be another one of the episodes where there's not a lot of human interaction, and it's just Pokemon interacting with one another. Kinda like the Sun and Moon episode where Ash's team searched all over Alola for him. Now, Pikachu has gotten angry at Ash plenty of times before, but those instances are few and far between, and I thought they were kind of past that point in their relationship now. We just watched an episode with Chloe that focused on how Pokemon can develop jealousy just like humans do, but I feel like Pikachu is past that point that he would get jealous at Ash for spending so much time with Riolu. I'm willing to withhold judgment and give this episode a fair shot, and I'm actually pretty excited to see Pikachu and Mr. Mime have an adventure together since they're both very expressive Pokemon. It'll be kind of like the old Pikachu shorts that used to air alongside movies. That's all for now. I'll talk to you guys next week. I have some ideas for other videos I want to make other than just episode reviews. I just need to put in the work and actually make them. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of those. Give this video a like if you haven't already. And let me hear your thoughts about this week, as well as your predictions for the future in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.